I'm outside the Verizon store right across the street from Everett Mall, where the workers here and from the store in Linwood, about 15 of them, are about to learn the results of their vote on whether to unionize to join the Communications Workers of America.
Yes.
One.
Yes. 2. And 3.
Four. Halfway.
Yes. 5. Yes. 6. 7.
7. Hey. Oh! Let's see you get them all.
9. 9. Yay.
Oh.
It's okay. It's okay. Alrighty then.
This is my yes file. Here's my no file.
Yes.
Yes. One more, right?
Well,
12.
Yes.
11.
Who's that one? Good job, man. Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was hard.
Way to go.
Wow.
You did it. Good job, everybody. That's good. Challenge don't even matter.
Yep. They never do.
You guys did it. Be proud, man. Be proud.
This is Steve Yu. He is one of the Verizon workers who just won the victory 11-1 with 3 challenged ballots, the final result there. Steve, what does it mean to you to have this victory?
Oh, we're super excited. We didn't think it would be this overwhelming, but we convinced a lot of our coworkers to come this way, and they kind of like see the light, and we're hoping that we can spread this and grow this to other locations now.
So I know Verizon, based on reports, has been kind of tough in the process. I mean, how would you describe that?
They definitely did not want this to happen. They sent their union busters right away. They tried to convince us of things. They even brought out the contracts that the previous Verizon stores did, their highlighted version. So we actually saw the full contract, and it was obviously the ones that Verizon gave us was the one that made Verizon look better, obviously. So
What we like to call the redacted version.
redacted, yeah.
Oh boy. So now that you've had this vote, I know the next step is a contract negotiation. How do you expect that to go?
Well, we hope we have more stores, because with more stores we can have more solidarity, we can have more voice, and we can have more sway. But if we are just going with what we have now, we know that this location we have a lot of customers, and we believe that most people will support us in what we're doing. We're gonna try and go for like better pay, better hours, and essentially we don't want money taken away from us anymore. That was one of the big things. We want to stand our ground, and we want to say just enough is enough.
So you mentioned that you hope for more stores, and I don't want to undermine any efforts that might be going on, but is that happening in our area?
We've reached out to other locations, other people that I've worked with as well, but it's Verizon's union busting tactics were predictable. They came to us first and kind of got information, and then they spread their wings out around us so they could keep it just to our location.
Do you think the movement is going to grow now that you've had some success here?
I think now that we are good to go, I think we can definitely talk about it more freely.
Excellent. Very good. Steve, I will let you get some lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. This is CWA organizer Colin Hall, Colin with one L, as he made clear to me just a moment ago. Colin is one of the guys who helped organize the 4 Verizon stores in Brooklyn. So now that this movement, has expanded west, I mean, what's it mean to you to see the success here?
Oh, it means a lot. I mean, just to see that there's other folks that were thinking what we were thinking back in 2014, right? We thought we would have started a wave in 2014 and then planned out so, but it's a different time now, and there's different waves popping up everywhere, right? So I'm excited to be here with these folks and have them celebrate their win for their union, and just overall, ecstatic,
Yeah, no, totally know what you mean. So you've been through it now. So now that the vote has been successful, what can these folks here expect in terms of the future, the help from CWA and what might change with their working conditions?
Well, they're joining a CWA family with a bunch of wireless workers all throughout the country, right? So there's definitely a form of leverage and solidarity there. But what they're going to gain is a better work-life balance at work, right? They get to have a seat at the table and have a voice to pretty much talk about the things that matter, right? The things that affect them the most in the store, because their voice matters, right? So their voice needs to be heard.
And next step is basically a contract
The next
negotiation,
step is
right?
negotiating a contract. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I'm assuming the demands are going to be higher wages, better scheduling, better staffing in the stores.
Absolutely, better wages, and even better staffing, because they ripped the support from under folks, and it's not there. And what we're hoping to do that is it creates a spark that other wireless workers can join, right? A movement. We have a framework built out already. The groundwork is laid out. All you have to do is be a part of it and join.
So it's been several years now since Brooklyn unionized. Are the workers happier after all these years?
The workers are still happy. There's not much of us there that, in my time when we first unionized, newer folks there now, but we are actively talking with the members there, getting them involved and just teaching them about the history and why the union was built in the first place in Brooklyn. So I'm glad to just see that our story inspired these folks here in Seattle. So that to me just means a lot,
That's great. Colin, thanks for that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is Deandra Frohmer. She is not one of the 15 workers who voted on the unionization today.
I was their manager for 2 years.
She was their manager for a while and was let go for what she says is retaliation. Deandra, tell me a little about that.
So back over the spring, summertime, a combination of COVID and a lot of different changes that made it very difficult to keep stores staffed and to give the reps the work-life balance that they needed. I had several reps that were bringing issues to me, and managers were having issues as well, and so I reported these things to both HR and compliance, things like differences in how people are treated based on gender. I had misogyny reported to me. I had reps that were telling me they were being targeted for write-ups, whether it was for tenure or for other things that were unwarranted. I had reps that had told me that they were not being allowed their legally required breaks, things like stores would get busy. They wouldn't get a break till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Back at the beginning of 2021, they changed and did what's called a multi-store thing. So instead of everyone working in just one store, like this team, they service not just Everett, but we service Linwood as well. So they would be a manager, or you could be assigned to any store at any time. So scheduling-wise, they would, because of staffing, they would be scheduled for Everett, and all of a sudden they'd be told, as they get to Everett, nope, you have to come to Linwood now. Things like that were really messing with their work-life balance and their ability to plan their life. And so I was reporting all of these things to try to get someone to come in and investigate. I had talked to also my supervisor and my district manager and, begging for, staffing or things to be done. And instead, after 12 years, six years as a rep in their role and 6 years as a manager, I had a stellar code of conduct record. They literally invented a reason to fire me. They targeted me instead. I got a phone call about 3 weeks after I had sent the list, to HR and then also to compliance to try to get things investigated. And I thought they were going to talk to me about what they were going to be doing to try to address some of these concerns. Instead, I had HR give me a hit list of basically things that they were calling my behavior into question, things that were just part of me doing my regular job. So things like, approving a staffing change without asking for approval, something I'd been doing for 5.5 years. I'm a manager. I approve staffing changes all the time, stuff like that. And September 15th, they brought me in and they fired me. And when I asked why, I said, can you show me where I violated something in the code of conduct, what I have done, what the reason is? The only 3 words they would give me was lack of communication. That was all they would, and I had so much communication, so much that if anything, I'm an over communicator. That was, proof that I was actively trying to get these guys to be treated, the way they should have been, no matter what store they worked at. It wasn't fair that if I'm in their store as a manager, I would forego breaks and lunches of my own to make sure that they got theirs, because it's a very stressful job, and especially through COVID, there's so much you're managing, not just accounts, but you're managing, COVID restrictions and, capacity and mask wearing and, plus all the normal things that go with, your cell phone. When your cell phone breaks in an emergency, you've got a high bill. It's a lot to manage. They need to be paid a wage that they can live on, which there was also a struggle because along with all these changes, they took these guys from individual performance and did what's called one team. One team is where my lowest performing rep and my highest performing rep now all make the exact same commission, which pretty much, if you're a mid to high performing rep, it dropped your commission capacity $2,000 to $3,000 a month based on what, yes. But I was a rep for 6 years because you can make really good money. I was a single mom and I supported 2 kids by myself with this job. A rep coming into this job now can't do that based on what they're paying. But I feel like they should be able to count on where they're going to work. When they come into work, they should get those breaks. They need those breaks. Whether you're male, female, you should be treated the same, regardless of who your manager is. Your opportunities for growth and development should be the same. And I don't believe that reps should be coached out of the business, that is something that I know that there are reps, especially tenured reps, because they're hiring now part-time. They're just not full-time reps. And a lot of these people, we got guys here that were with Verizon for 20 years, and we're now hiring people working 24 and 32 hours, and so I don't feel like these people that are tenured should be coached out of the business just because they've been doing the same thing for so long,
Yeah, no, totally agree. So now that this has happened, what do you expect to see at these stores?
I'm hoping that other stores, especially the ones that are in the multi-teams that are working 2 different locations, the same team, like Aurora Village and Northgate. They're one team. Totem Lake and Woodinville, I think Totem Lake and Woodinville, but especially them. I want them to band together and see that, when you stand up, you really can affect change. You really can do things. And I also feel like for people that were in my management level position, having a union for the reps makes management jobs easier too, because managers get pressure from everywhere. So sometimes it's, that pressure then filters down to the rep. I need you to switch to the store. If there's a rule that the store you're scheduled in is the store that you work in, it alleviates managers from having to deal with that stress as well. So I feel like it's a benefit for all, and it gives everybody that democratic voice, and it's a good thing for everyone. And I want people to see that, because unions have gotten such a bad rap over the years, and it's literally the people speaking, the workers speaking for themselves. The union is you. It's always going to make things better for you. It'll never make things worse.
Deandra, that's great. Thank you. I really appreciate it.